Hello, and welcome to another lesson from Level Up Mathematics. In today's lesson, we will be exploring how to multiply a polynomial by a monomial. In our first example, we'll be using an area model. In our second example, we'll be using the distributive property to accomplish this. So let's look at area model. Let's look at area models first. So in problem 1, Example 1, it says use an area model to multiply each of the following. And we have 5a times the quantity negative 4a minus 2. So in an area model, what you want to do is put the monomial on the side and then draw a rectangle and split it into the number of terms you have. So since in the parentheses we had two terms, we split our rectangle into two parts. And then we'll multiply our monomial 5a times the negative 4a, which would give us negative 20, and a times a would give us a squared. Then you'll take the 5a and multiply it by the negative 2, which would give us negative 10a. Now, before writing our answer, we want to see if there are any like terms we can combine. But here we have a to the power of 2. Here we have a to the power of 1. So those cannot be combined. So our final answer will be negative 20a squared minus 10a. In problem B, we have a monomial, negative 5y, and we're multiplying it by the quantity y squared minus 3y plus 6. So this time, since there are three terms inside the parenthesis, when we make our rectangle, we want to split it into three parts, one part for each term in the parentheses. So again, our monomial goes on the side, and then each term of our polynomial goes on top. So we have y squared, negative 3y, and positive 6. Now, again, I'll take the monomial and multiply it by my first term. So negative 5y times y squared would be negative 5y to the third power. Remember, when we're multiplying like bases, we add the powers. So 1 power plus 2 is 3. Then we have negative 5y times negative 3y, which would give us, and I'm going to write the sign positive, and you'll see why I'm doing that in just a minute, 5y to the 2 power. And then negative 5y times 6 would give me negative 30y. Now, what I want to see, can I combine any of those terms? Well, this is a 3 power, this is a 2 power, and this is a 1 power. So because all the powers are different, I cannot combine any of them. So my final answer would be negative 5y to the 3 power plus 15y to the 2 power minus 30y. Now, in example 2, we're going to do the same process, but this time we're going to be using our distributive property. So in problem A, we have 1/2 x, that's our monomial, times the quantity 8x minus 6. So using the distributive property, I'm going to multiply 1/2 x times 8x, and then I'm going to multiply 1/2 x times negative 6. So that would give me 1/2 x times 8x. 1/2 of 8 is 4. X times x is x squared. Here I have 1/2 x times negative 6, and that would be negative 3x. So because it's negative 3x, I put minus 3x. All right, problem B. We have negative 5y times the quantity y squared minus 3y plus 6. So I'm going to take negative 5y times y squared, and then I'm going to take negative 5y times negative 3y, and then I'm going to take negative 5y times 6. Now let's simplify this. Negative 5y times y squared is negative 5y to the 3 power. Negative 5y times negative 3y is positive 15y to the 2 power, and negative 5y times 6 is negative 30y. pause the video and try problem C on your own. All right, welcome back. Let's see how you did. I started out by multiplying 4m squared times 3m to the 5. And then I multiplied 4m squared times negative 2m. And then I multiplied 4m squared times 5. When I simplified that, 4 times 3 is 12. M squared times m5 is m to the 7. Remember, to multiply like bases, you add the power. 4m squared times negative 2m is negative 8m to the 3. And then 4m squared times 5 is positive 20m squared. All right. If you got any part of that incorrect, pause the video at this time and fix it before moving on to problem D. All right, in problem D, we have 1/3 x times the quantity 27x squared plus 3x minus 6. So I'm going to take my monomial 1/3 x, and I'm going to multiply it first by 27x squared. Then I'm going to take 1/3 x and multiply it by 3x. And then I'm going to take 1/3 x and multiply it by negative 6. All right, so 1/3 of 27 is 9. X times x squared is x cubed. 1/3 of 3 is 1x. So x times x would just be 1x squared. I'm not going to write the 1. And then 1/3 of negative 6 is negative 2. So this would be minus 2x. All right, example 3. Simplify each of the following. Now, in example 3, we're going to do the same thing we did in example 2, but this time we're going to have 2 sets of parentheses. So let's try that. So in problem A, we have 3a times the quantity a plus 2 plus 8 times the quantity a minus 4. So I'll start out by multiplying 3a times a plus 3a times 2 plus 8 times a plus 8 times negative 4. So this would be 3a times a, or 3a squared. 3a times 2, positive 6a. 8 times a is positive 8a. And 8 times negative 4 is negative 32. Now, I want you to notice something in this problem. We have in the middle here some like terms. The reason they're like terms is because they both have an a to the 1 power. So to write my final answer, I would write 3a squared. Then I would combine the 6a with the 8a to get 14a, and then minus 32. All right, problem B. We have 3x times the quantity 4x minus 2 minus, and this is actually a 1, understood 1, minus 1 times the quantity 5x minus 3. So I'm going to multiply everything in this first parenthesis by 3x. So 3x times 4x is 12x squared. And 3x times negative 2 is negative 6x. Now I'm going to multiply everything in the second parenthesis by negative 1. So negative 1 times 5x is negative 5x. And negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3. Now notice, again, just like in our last problem, we have like terms that need to be combined before we write our final answer. So our final answer here would be 12x squared minus 11x plus 3. All right, problem C. We have 4r times the quantity 2r squared minus 3r plus 5 minus 3 times the quantity 2r squared minus 3r plus 5. So I'll start by multiplying everything in this first parenthesis by 4r. So 4r times 2r squared would be 8r to the 3 power. 4r times negative 3r would be negative 12r squared. And 4r times positive 5 would be 20r. Now multiply everything in this second parenthesis by negative 3. So negative 3 times 2r squared would be negative 6r squared. Negative 3 times negative 3r would be positive 9r. And negative 3 times 5, negative 15. Now, we're going to see if we have any like terms. So 8r cubed, I think that's the only r cubed, all right? So nothing to combine it with. Then we have negative 12r squared. Well, I'm noticing right off the bat, I have an r squared term here and an r squared term here. So those can be combined. Then we have a 20r, and I'm noticing I also have a 9r. So those can be combined. All right, so to write my final answer, I would write down the 8r cubed, combine the negative 12 and the negative 6 to get negative 18r squared, combine the 20r with the 9r to get 29r, and then minus 15. And this is your final answer. All right, in problem D, we have 5x times the quantity, negative 3x squared minus 2x minus 1, minus, and we should add a 1 there, minus 1 times the quantity, negative 3x squared minus 2x minus 1. Pause the video and try this problem on your own. All right, welcome back. Let's see how you did. 5x times negative 3x squared would be negative 15x to the 3 power. 5x times negative 2x would be negative 10x to the 2 power. And 5x times negative 1 would be negative 5x. Now we'll multiply everything in the second parenthesis by negative 1. So negative 1 times negative 3x would be positive 3x squared. Negative 1 times negative 2x would be positive 2x. And negative 1 times negative 1 would be positive 1. Now I'm going to look for like terms. I have a negative 10x squared that could be combined with a positive 3x squared. And I have a negative 5x, which could be combined with a positive 2x. So final answer, negative 15x cubed. Combine the negative 10x squared with the 3x squared to get negative 7x squared. Combine the negative 5x with the 2x to get negative 3x, and then plus 1. All right, now let me show you another way this might be tested. Example 4, it says find an expression in terms of x to represent the area of each shape. So in problem A, we have a rectangle, and the area of a rectangle is length times width. So an expression for the area of the rectangle, I'll take the 4x squared and multiply it by x plus 6. Now, pause the video and try to finish this problem on your own. All right, welcome back. Let's see how you did. I multiplied 4x squared times x to get 4x to the 3 power. Then I multiplied 4x squared times 6 to get 24x squared. So check your answer with mine. If you got any part of that incorrect, pause the video and fix it right now. If you got it right, let's move on to problem B. So in problem B, we have a triangle. So the area formula for a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So area equals 1/2. The base is 2x plus 3, and the height is 6x. Now, remember, we can multiply numbers in any order, and that applies to polynomials too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this. I'm going to put the 6x first, and then the 2x plus 3, because I think it's a little bit easier to work like this. Because now I can multiply 1/2 times 6x to get 3x, and then I can multiply that by the 2x plus 3. So 3x times 2x would be 6x squared, and 3x times 3 would be positive 9x. And that concludes today's lesson, how to multiply a polynomial by a monomial.